On a serene California beach, Frank Johnson's life takes an unexpected turn. The ex-Navy SEAL, haunted by memories of past missions, finds solace in the rhythmic crash of waves against the shore. His peaceful reverie is shattered by a desperate cry piercing the air. Without hesitation, Frank's instincts kick in as he spots a young boy thrashing in the tumultuous waters. Time seems to slow as Frank races towards the ocean, his feet pounding against the warm sand. The salt spray stings his eyes as he plunges into the frigid Pacific. Powerful currents threaten to overwhelm him, but years of training fuel his determination. Stroke after powerful stroke, Frank battles the relentless waves, inching closer to the struggling child. As he reaches the boy, Frank's strong arms encircle the small frame, offering a lifeline amidst the chaos. The return to shore is grueling, each movement a test of endurance against nature's fury. Finally, Frank's feet touch solid ground, and he carries the coughing, sputtering child to safety. Collapsing on the beach, Frank's chest heaves as he gulps in air. The boy's mother rushes over, tears of relief streaming down her face. As the adrenaline subsides, Frank learns the child's name, Noah Reed. A jolt of recognition courses through him. Reed, a name from his past, bringing with it a flood of memories both cherished and painful. Noah's mother, Sarah, expresses her profound gratitude, but Frank detects a hint of wariness in her eyes. As she fusses over her son, Frank's mind reels with the implications of this chance encounter. Noah is the spitting image of his grandfather, Tom Reed, Frank's deceased friend and fellow SEAL. The weight of responsibility settles on Frank's shoulders, a mix of duty to his fallen comrade and a chance at redemption. In the days following the rescue, Frank finds himself drawn into the orbit of the Reed family. Each interaction is a bittersweet reminder of his friendship with Tom, a bond forged in the crucible of combat and tempered by shared dreams of a peaceful future. Sarah's initial skepticism slowly gives way to cautious acceptance as Frank shares stories of her father's bravery and compassion. Noah, once shy and reserved, blossoms in Frank's presence. The boy's eyes light up with curiosity as he peppers Frank with questions about his grandfather's adventures. Frank treads carefully, balancing the desire to honor Tom's memory with the need to protect Noah from the harsher realities of military life. One afternoon, as golden sunlight bathes the Reeds' living room, Evelyn, Noah's grandmother, presents Frank with a weathered photo album. With trembling hands, he opens the cover, and a lifetime of memories spills forth. There's Tom, forever young and vibrant, arms slung around Frank's shoulders as they stand proudly in their dress uniforms. Another snapshot captures a rare moment of levity during a grueling training exercise. Both men covered in mud, but grinning from ear to ear. As Frank turns the pages, he feels the weight of lost time and missed opportunities. He silently vows to bridge the gap between past and present, to be for Noah the mentor and friend that Tom would have been. Yet, a nagging doubt lingers. Is he overstepping? Trying to fill a void that can never truly be filled? Sarah watches from the doorway, her expression a complex mixture of gratitude and unease. She sees the positive impact Frank is having on her son, but fears the growing attachment. The ghost of her father looms large, and she wonders if Frank's presence will help Noah heal or only serve as a painful reminder of what they've lost. As summer unfolds, Frank becomes a fixture in Noah's life. Their bond deepens with each passing day, nurtured by shared experiences and Frank's patient guidance. On sun-drenched mornings, they head to the beach, where Frank imparts his knowledge of the sea. Noah soaks up every word, his initial fear of the water transforming into respect and understanding. Frank teaches Noah to read the waves, to understand the ocean's moods and rhythms. They practice swimming techniques, building Noah's confidence stroke by stroke. On calmer days, Frank introduces the basics of sailing, explaining the interplay of wind and canvas that can propel a vessel across vast expanses of blue. During one particularly memorable outing, Noah masters the art of body surfing. As he rides his first wave successfully to shore, his triumphant laugh rings out across the beach. Frank feels a surge of pride, tinged with a bittersweet ache as he imagines Tom witnessing this moment. Their conversations often turn to Tom, with Noah hungry for every scrap of information about the grandfather he never knew. Frank shares carefully chosen anecdotes, painting a picture of a man who was not just a decorated soldier, but a devoted friend and family man. He tells Noah about Tom's love for the outdoors, his terrible jokes, and his unwavering sense of duty. One evening, as they watch the sun dip below the horizon, Noah grows quiet. "Wish I could have known him," he says softly. Frank's heart constricts at the longing in the boy's voice. "Your grandfather would have been so proud of you, Noah," he replies, choosing his words carefully. "And in a way, you do know him. He's a part of you, in your courage, your kindness, and that mischievous glint in your eye." Noah mulls this over, a small smile tugging at his lips. Do you think I could be a hero like him someday?" he asks hesitantly. Frank meets the boy's earnest gaze, seeing in it the same fire that had burned in Tom's eyes. "Noah," he says solemnly, "I believe you have it in you to be whatever kind of hero you choose to be." As Frank's influence on Noah grows, so too does Sarah's unease. She can't deny the positive changes in her son, his newfound confidence, his eagerness to learn, the way his eyes light up when talking about his adventures with Frank. Yet, a persistent fear gnaws at her heart. Is she allowing Frank to usurp Tom's place in Noah's life? Is she betraying her father's memory by welcoming this surrogate figure? These doubts come to a head during a family barbecue. As Frank regales Noah with yet another story from his Navy days, Sarah watches from the sidelines, her emotions a turbulent mix. She sees the admiration in Noah's eyes, hears the easy laughter between them, and feels a pang of jealousy and loss. Later that evening, after Noah has gone to bed, Sarah confronts Frank. Her voice trembles with suppressed emotion as she expresses her concerns. "Well, I'm grateful for what you've done for Noah," she begins, choosing her words carefully. "But I can't help feeling like you're trying to replace my father in his life. Tom should be the one teaching him these things, sharing these moments. It's not fair that you get to step into that role while he's gone." Frank listens, his heart heavy with understanding. He sees the pain etched in Sarah's features, recognizes the struggle between gratitude and grief. "Sarah," he says gently, "I would never try to take Tom's place. Your father was one of the best men I've ever known, and no one could replace him. I'm just trying to honor his memory by being there for Noah, the way Tom would have wanted." His words, though sincere, do little to assuage Sarah's fears. The conversation ends in an uneasy truce, with Frank agreeing to take a step back. As he drives home that night, the California coastline, a blur of darkness and distant lights, Frank grapples with his own doubts. Has he overstepped? Is his presence doing more harm than good? The next few weeks are marked by a noticeable distance. Frank's visits become less frequent, his interactions with Noah more reserved. Noah, perceptive beyond his years, senses the change but doesn't understand its cause. He misses the easy camaraderie, the adventures, and the stories that brought his grandfather to life. The tension between Frank and the Reed family comes to a head during a memorial service for Tom. The event, organized to mark the anniversary of Tom's passing, brings together friends, family, and fellow veterans to celebrate his life and legacy. Frank, initially hesitant to attend, decides to go after receiving a heartfelt plea from Noah. As the gathering unfolds, emotions run high. Stories of Tom's bravery, kindness, and unwavering loyalty fill the air, punctuated by laughter and tears. Frank stands at the periphery, feeling both a part of and separate from the shared grief and remembrance. When it's time for speeches, Frank is surprised to hear his name called. With trepidation, he makes his way to the front, acutely aware of Sarah's wary gaze. Taking a deep breath, Frank begins to speak, his words halting at first but gaining strength as he delves into memories of his friendship with Tom. He speaks of their first meeting in boot camp, of harrowing missions where they saved each other's lives, and of quiet moments shared during long deployments. But more than that, Frank talks about Tom the man, his dreams for the future, his boundless love for his family, and the values he held dear. Tom always said that the true measure of a person wasn't in their achievements, but in the lives they touched, Frank says, his voice thick with emotion. He touched all of our lives in profound ways, and his legacy lives on in each of us, especially in his grandson, Noah. As Frank's gaze finds Noah in the crowd, He sees the boy's eyes shining with unshed tears and a fierce pride. Sarah, standing beside her son, listens with a conflicted heart. For the first time, she truly sees Frank not as a threat to Tom's memory, but as a living connection to the father she misses so desperately. After the ceremony, Noah approaches Frank, his small hand clutching something tightly. "Mom found this in Grandpa's things," he says, holding out a battered compass. She said you should have it." Frank accepts the gift with trembling hands, recognizing it as the compass he had given Tom before their last deployment together. Sarah joins them, her expression softer than it has been in weeks. "Frank," she says quietly, "I think I understand now. You're not trying to replace my father. You're helping keep his memory alive for Noah, for all of us. I'm sorry for pushing you away." As the three of them stand together, the compass a tangible link between past and present, a new understanding begins to form. They realize that honoring Tom's memory isn't about holding on to the past, but about carrying his values and love into the future. In the weeks following the memorial service, a palpable shift occurs in the dynamic between Frank and the Reed family. The walls of mistrust and hesitation begin to crumble, replaced by a growing sense of unity and shared purpose. Sarah, having witnessed the depth of Frank's connection to Tom and his genuine care for Noah, extends an olive branch in the form of more frequent invitations to family gatherings. Frank, for his part, approaches his role in Noah's life with renewed clarity. He understands now that he's not there to replace Tom, but to help keep his friend's spirit alive through stories, lessons, and shared experiences. This realization allows him to be more authentic in his interactions and triumph over adversity. One sunny afternoon, Frank takes Noah sailing on a small boat he's borrowed from a friend. As they navigate the coastal waters, Frank uses the opportunity to impart some of Tom's wisdom. "Your grandfather used to say that life is like sailing," he tells Noah, adjusting the mainsail. "You can't always control the wind, but you can adjust your sails." Noah, his face scrunched in concentration as he helps man the tiller, ponders this. "So, even when bad things happen, we can still choose how to react?" he asks. Frank nods, a surge of pride warming his chest at the boy's perceptiveness. "Exactly. Tom faced a lot of challenges in his life, but he always found a way to keep moving forward, to help others, to be the best version of himself." As they return to shore, the setting sun painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink, Noah turns to Frank with a determined look. "I want to be like that," he declares, "where I want to help people and make Grandpa proud." Frank rests a hand on Noah's shoulder, feeling the weight of responsibility and the lightness of hope. "Noah, you're already making him proud. And you don't have to be a soldier or a sailor to be a hero. Your grandfather's true strength was in his kindness, his integrity, and his love for his family. Those are the things that made him a hero every single day." That evening, as Frank recounts the day's adventure to Sarah and Evelyn, he sees a newfound acceptance in their eyes. Sarah, in particular, seems to have let go of her last reservations. "Thank you," she says softly, "for giving Noah a piece of his grandfather that I couldn't provide. I see now that you're not trying to replace Dad, but to honor him in the best way possible." Evelyn, her eyes misting with tears, adds, "Tom would be so grateful to know that his grandson has such a wonderful mentor. You're family now, Frank, whether you like it or not." The warmth of her words envelops Frank, filling a void he hadn't realized was there. As the night wears on, the conversation flows easily, punctuated by laughter and shared memories. Frank realizes that in trying to preserve Tom's legacy for Noah, surrounded by the people Tom loved most, Frank feels his old friend's presence more strongly than ever, a silent approval of the new bonds being forged. As summer gives way to fall, Frank's relationship with the Reed family continues to deepen. The initial wariness has been replaced by a comfortable familiarity, with Frank becoming a regular fixture at family dinners and weekend outings. It's during one such gathering that a new chapter in their shared story begins to unfold. Evelyn, while clearing out some old boxes in the attic, stumbles upon a collection of Tom's personal effects that had been overlooked in the aftermath of his passing. Among the items is a weathered leather journal, its pages filled with Tom's neat, precise handwriting. With trembling hands, she brings it downstairs to share with the others. As Frank, Sarah, and Noah gather around the kitchen table, Evelyn carefully opens the journal. The room falls silent as they begin to read, each entry offering a glimpse into Tom's innermost thoughts and experiences. Some passages bring laughter. Tom's wry observations about military life and his often disastrous attempts at cooking. Others are more somber, detailing the weight of responsibility he felt for his team and the toll of prolonged separations from his family. For Sarah, the journal is a bittersweet gift, allowing her to connect with her father in a way she never had before. She reads about his pride in her accomplishments, his hopes for her future, and the regret he felt for the times his duty kept him away. Tears stream down her face as she realizes the depth of his love and the internal struggles he faced. Noah listens intently as Frank reads aloud entries that paint a more complete picture of his grandfather and how he found strength in the love of his family and his commitment to his values. For Frank, the journal brings a flood of memories, both joyous and painful. He recognizes missions described in code, reads Tom's perspective on shared experiences, and finds mention of himself in several entries. One passage, in particular, catches his eye. "If anything happens to me, I hope Frank will be there for my family. He's the best man I know, aside from being the biggest pain in the ass. He understands this life, the cost of it, in a way few others do. Sarah might resist. She's got my stubborn streak, but I know he'd be a positive influence on my grandson." Frank's voice cracks as he reads these words aloud, the weight of Tom's trust settling on his shoulders anew. Sarah reaches out, squeezing his hand in a gesture of understanding and acceptance. In this moment, the last vestiges of her doubt melt away, replaced by gratitude for the way Frank has honored her father's wishes. As they continue to pore over the journal, a fuller picture of Tom emerges, not just the hero in uniform, but a complex man with hopes, fears, and an unwavering love for his family. For Noah, these revelations bring his grandfather to life in a way no secondhand stories could. He begins to see aspects of Tom in himself, the sense of humor, the drive to help others, and the occasional struggle with self-doubt. One entry, dated just weeks before Tom's final mission, catches everyone's attention. In it, Tom writes about his hopes for the future, his plans to retire from active duty and spend more time with his family. He mentions a small coastal property he'd been eyeing, dreaming of building a home where he could watch his grandchildren grow up. Sarah gasps softly. "I always wondered why he was so interested in that stretch of coastline." As the night wears on, the family finds themselves sharing stories, filling in the gaps between journal entries with their own memories and perspectives. Frank contributes anecdotes from their shared missions, carefully edited for Noah's young ears, but retaining the essence of Tom's bravery and compassion. By the time they close the journal in the early hours of the morning, something has shifted. The words on those pages have woven a new thread into the fabric of their relationships, binding them together in a shared understanding of Tom's legacy. Noah, his eyes heavy with sleep but bright with newfound purpose, makes a declaration. "Yeah, I want to build Grandpa's house," he says, stifling a yawn. "Not right now, but someday. And I want all of us to be there." Frank meets Sarah's gaze over Noah's head, seeing in her eyes the same mix of grief and hope that he feels. "That sounds like a wonderful idea. Buddy," Frank says, ruffling Noah's hair, "your grandfather would love that." As they prepare to part ways, Sarah pulls Frank aside. "Thank you," she says softly, "for being here, for helping us understand Dad better. I think this is what he would have wanted." Frank nods, his throat tight with emotion. "Tom was my brother in all but blood," he replies. "Being here, being part of this, it's an honor." They share a moment of silent understanding before Sarah surprises Frank with a quick, fierce hug. As he drives home in the pre-dawn light, Frank feels a sense of peace he hasn't known in years. The weight of the past hasn't disappeared, but it's been transformed into something that propels him forward rather than holding him back. The discovery of Tom's journal marks a turning point for the Reed family and Frank. The shared experience of uncovering Tom's innermost thoughts and dreams has forged a deeper connection between them all. As autumn paints the California coastline in rich hues of gold and crimson, They begin to put some of Tom's unrealized plans into action. Sarah, inspired by her father's dream of a family home by the sea, decides to look into the coastal property Tom had mentioned. To her surprise, it's still available, a small, undeveloped plot with a stunning view of the Pacific. After much discussion and soul-searching, she makes the decision to purchase it, seeing it as a way to honor her father's memory and create a legacy for Noah. Frank, drawing on his naval engineering experience, offers to help with the initial planning and design of the house. What starts as casual sketches over coffee soon evolves into regular planning sessions, with Noah eagerly contributing his own ideas for tree houses and secret passageways. These meetings become a ritual, a time for the family to come together and dream. Evelyn brings old photo albums, using them to remind everyone of Tom's tastes and preferences. He would have wanted a big porch, she insists, pointing to a faded snapshot of Tom relaxing on the deck of an aircraft carrier. He's somewhere he could sit and watch the sunset. As they work on the plans, other aspects of their lives begin to intertwine more closely. Frank starts teaching Noah basic carpentry skills, figuring they'll come in handy when it's time to build. Sarah, who had always been hesitant about the ocean after losing her father, allows Frank to give her swimming lessons, facing her fears one wave at a time. One crisp Saturday morning, the entire group makes a pilgrimage to the property. As they stand on the windswept bluff, gazing out at the endless expanse of the Pacific, a sense of rightness settles over them. Noah runs excited circles around the adults, pointing out where he wants his room to be and the perfect spot for a tire swing. Frank hangs back slightly, watching the scene with a mix of joy and wistfulness. Sarah notices his hesitation and approaches him. "You know," she says, her voice carrying over the sound of the crashing waves, "when we build this place, there needs to be a room for you too. You're part of this family now, Frank. I think you have been for a long time. We just didn't realize it." Emotion wells up in Frank's chest, threatening to overwhelm him. He thinks of Tom, of the years of friendship they shared, of the responsibility he felt to watch over Tom's family. But now, he realizes it's more than responsibility. These people, Sarah, Noah, Evelyn, they've become his family too. "I'd like that," he manages to say, his voice gruff with unshed tears. "Thank you, Sarah." As the sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the property, the family gathers in a tight circle. Noah, caught up in the emotion of the moment, suggests they make a pact. "Let's promise," he says solemnly, "that no matter what happens, we'll always come back here. This'll be our special place." One by one, they agree, hands clasped together in a symbol of unity. As Frank looks around the circle, he sees in each face a reflection of Tom, his strength, his kindness, his love of family. And he knows, with a certainty that settles deep in his bones, that this is where he belongs. The drive back home is filled with excited chatter about building plans and future summers spent by the sea. Frank listens, a contented smile on his face. He realizes that in helping to build this new legacy for Tom's family, he's also building something for himself, a future filled with purpose, love, and the kind of bonds that last a lifetime. As the car winds its way along the coastal road, the setting sun painting the sky in brilliant shades of orange and pink, Frank feels a sense of peace wash over him. He's no longer just preserving Tom's memory, he's helping to create new memories, new traditions, new hopes for the future. And in doing so, he's found his own path to healing and redemption.
Disclaimer: this channel does not support or tolerate any form of discrimination, racism, prejudice, or violation of human rights. The stories presented here are original and created by the author with the aim of promoting reflection, awareness, and dialogue. All content is developed with respect for diversity and the dignity of all people.